You know who's really going to be upset right now? Thousands of federal workers, many of whom won't receive their paychecks because of the ongoing government shutdown. This has officially become the second longest shutdown in U.S. history, and federal employees are now missing their first full paycheck. But the question is, are cracks starting to form within the Democratic Party? According to Axios, what once looked like a united front might now be showing small fractures as frustration builds. I find that interesting, since there hasn't been much public division so far. Yet Democrats still seem convinced this political standoff plays in their favor. Still, during a notably candid moment, Capitol Hill correspondent Chad Pergram interviewed Katherine Clark, the party's number 2 in leadership, and she openly acknowledged something few others have: that American families will suffer under this government shutdown. When asked whether the public might blame the Democrats for it, her response left many wondering what's really happening behind closed doors. Clearly, the government shutdown's impact goes beyond federal paychecks. Many American families will face real hardship. Officials say they care about that pain. Yet, they also view this as one of the few remaining levers available, a turning point that could shift political fortunes. The financial strain isn't limited to salaries. Travel is being hit as air traffic disruptions ripple through the economy, affecting everyday Americans. Some politicians appear to be leveraging that public distress to advance policy priorities. For example, debates over healthcare access for undocumented immigrants, a move that many find controversial. Separately, there are reports of emergency funding efforts to ensure the military continues to operate during the shutdown. Proposals to cover service members' pay have surfaced, but the Democratic leadership has balked at supporting them, concerned that doing so would surrender a key piece of political leverage they currently hold. On the surface, they claim this is about compassion for undocumented immigrants, perhaps even more so than for American citizens. But in reality, there are deeper political calculations at play. Take Virginia, for example, where an election is just around the corner. Northern Virginia borders Washington, D.C., and is home to many federal workers, a region that traditionally leans heavily Democratic. Analysts suggest that keeping the government shut down might actually energize those voters. The anger and frustration it causes could motivate them to turn out in larger numbers, ultimately benefiting Democrats at the ballot box. It's also worth noting that Democrats recently lost control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. So, using this moment as a strategic opportunity to regain influence seems to be part of their broader political playbook. Anytime Democrats can bring the gears of a Republican-led government in Washington to a halt, they see it as a political win. By slowing down or shutting down government operations, they effectively stall Trump's agenda and his ability to push forward policies. Meanwhile, many federal employees are stuck at home, and as mentioned, a large number of them tend to lean Democratic. With unexpected free time, they can now channel that energy into campaigning for their party's interests. It's a familiar pattern back when President Obama faced a government shutdown. The administration made sure public sites were closed and access to landmarks restricted, turning inconvenience into a political message. Now, roughly 40 million American families who rely on SNAP food benefits could face serious disruption. And it's hard to forget Senate Leader Chuck Schumer's remark that this shutdown gets better for Democrats every day. If things continue in this direction, Republicans might ironically end up thanking the Democrats because this shutdown could end up fueling their rivals' political momentum heading into the next election. A friend of mine told me a funny story. She was on a flight recently when the pilot announced, "Folks, we'll be waiting on the runway for about an hour due to a shortage of air traffic controllers." And the man sitting next to her shouted loud enough for everyone to hear, "Thanks, Democrats." The whole cabin laughed, but honestly, that line pretty much sums up how many Americans are feeling right now. Maybe that should be their new slogan. Every time the shutdown hits you, just say, "Thanks, Democrats." That's what personal impact really looks like. I'm Steve Ducey, I'm Brian Kilmeade, and I'm Ainsley Earhart. Click subscribe to Fox News on YouTube for the hottest interviews and the sharpest political insights every day.